All right, time to fess up. Time to come clean. Time to tell the entire story. Time to check the headlines. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this, a Wednesday edition of Dan's At Home Update. And again, I am Dan Gresham. This is my house, and this is my studio. Now, as I said, not only is it my broadcast studio for our updates, but it's also my paint studio. So if it looks a little messy in the background, that's probably why. But as I mentioned, confessions this morning, you know, the old adage is they're good for the soul, right? That if you fess up, if you come clean, and I've got one to share with you this morning. I have never, ever in my life ordered takeout food with a delivery service. I never have. I know, shocking, right? It's not earth-shattering, but the reason I bring that up is because I was just looking at a story, and we've been talking about a story this morning. If you've joined us on the morning show on either KFDM TV or KB TV this morning, we've been talking about a survey that was out by folks at, let's look at the whole thing. It's 5 most popular delivery foods right now. This is on a website called Eat This, Not That. Gotta love these different websites that are out there, right, that you can go to. But anyway, if you look real quickly here, you can see what it's a story that dives into food delivery orders during the pandemic. It includes Grubhub, Uber Eats, Postmates, all the rest of Gopher. I don't think they're necessarily included in this one, but it surveyed them and asked, what is the most common food ordered? What are people asking for delivery to their home? I got to tell you, I was a little bit surprised. Spicy chicken sandwich was number 1, the number 1 thing that people wanted. Number 2, a red velvet cupcake. Number 3, according to this, plant-based burger. Number 4, Cajun shrimp chicken pasta. Cheeseburger sliders are in the top 5 as well. Now, does that surprise you? They also had a list of the things that people wanted most, but they haven't had when it comes to food over the course of the last 4 or 5 months. You know what was number 1? Mexican, Tex-Mex. I'm not sure Tex-Mex. Maybe we should just say Mexican, because that kind of, the connotation is different for some people than it is for others. Me, I think almost anything that we eat in Texas is really, truly Tex-Mex, unless you go to maybe a specialty restaurant like Hugo's in Houston, you know, where they do Mexican food. And there's some other, but I have never, ever in my life called Grubhub or any of that, but everything's pretty convenient for me. So when it comes to takeout, I guess I'm just used to being the delivery driver. So I'm the one that goes and picks it up. I am the delivery driver for my household, which can consist of anything from 2 people, the wife and I, up to 12 people if we include, and we do often, all the grandkids at my house. Once again, good morning to you. Thanks for getting up with us. You can weigh in on that if you want to. What's the food that you miss most? There are a lot of things that you can cook at home. There are a lot of things that we've learned to cook at home over the course of the pandemic. My wife is a great cook. I have not gone without or for want at all. But, you know, if there's one place I would probably go, if I were picking a restaurant that I want to go to, Mexican would be way up there. I like Thai food. I like Chinese food. I like Italian. Look at me. I like all foods, huh? Obviously, I've never skipped a meal. If you want to jump in, tell us what you've been missing. That's fine. Maybe tell us something that you've learned to cook over the course of the pandemic that maybe you'd never tried before. I think a lot of people got into breads maybe that had never done that before. And suddenly it's like, oh, I've got time on my hands. I'm going to give these things a try and see what they do. All right, so let's jump in. As we said, give us a shout out this morning. Tell us where you're watching. Maybe if you want to comment on what we were just talking about, maybe it's something unrelated. You have a totally different idea, something else you want to, bring to our attention this morning would be fine. Also, don't forget, if you don't mind, please give us a like. It just, again, boosts our ego. No, that's not it. We just need it so that we can kind of proof of performance, verification that we're actually working when we pass it along to our corporate powers that be. And of course, the like is just a little blue circle, got thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. All right, let's check out some folks who are up with us this morning. Marie Jackson is here. Kisha is up with us this morning. LaMail is up with us this morning. Hey, Chason, good to see you. Chason says, cool artwork. Well, thank you, Chason. Appreciate your noticing in the back. It's interesting what people do notice when you're broadcasting from home, as we've been doing for months now. It'll be, I saw that cup you got back there. I have a hand that's an artist model hand that's wooden, that people who are learning to draw anatomy, because you can pose it in all these different ways. And I have that in the back, and I'll change it all up every once in a while. People will comment on that, or the artwork in the background, or how come you've got that plugged into that wall socket? The strangest things. Oh, that ladder. Where does that ladder go? Absolutely nowhere. But again, thanks for noticing, Chason. Appreciate that. Tammy says, I don't know how, but I missed you yesterday. Well, I'm just glad you're back today. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, Tammy, we kind of come at a regular time. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we try to always be 9 a.m., just like clockwork, because we know that you know. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because of work schedule, sometimes we have to kind of move to 9:45, 9:30. Mary Ellen, good to see you too. Glad to know that you're watching in Newport Richey, Florida. Very cool. You have a connection, I assume, to Southeast Texas. I always think that when somebody says they're watching from out of town. Nina McCarver in Mauriceville. Thank you. Appreciate your making us part of your morning. Janetta Williams says, good morning, Dan from Port Arthur. How are you and your family coping with COVID-19? We have been very, very, very fortunate. And I'll find some wood to knock on here to this point. I've had very few instances of people that I know that have even contracted or tested positive. And I count my blessings. I count myself very fortunate. I hope the same is true for you. Mary Walford, good morning to you. Also up with us this morning is Darwin Parker. He's watching in Amarillo. All right, Darwin, I hope you like the new move there, but we miss you here in Southeast Texas. Please tune in whenever you want. You want to catch up on what's happening at home. Terry Dillinger, good morning. Joetta, glad you're starting your day with us this morning. Charlene Purdue is up this morning. David, hope you're doing well. We've got a lot of folks jumping in here this morning. Hoyt Kelly says, delivery drivers taste the food. Now, Hoyt, really? You think if every delivery driver tasted every food they delivered, can you imagine? No. I mean, I wouldn't put it past some folks beyond doing that. But I'm also not gonna take that brush and paint all drivers that way, because I know some drivers that work very, very hard at what they do to try to make sure that they please the customer. Mary Ellen says she misses Casa Olay, Mexican, not too good here in Florida. That's when you start doing your own stuff, when it gets to be not too good. Susan Guidry says, good morning. We welcome you. Terry Dillinger says, miss the Chinese buffet. Here's a question that I have, because you say that, but are buffets gone? Because I keep driving by one of the biggest buffet franchises in the world. Starts with a G, has a C, and I still see cars there. And I'm always thinking, are they serving a buffet in there? I don't know. Lloyd Douglas Bean. Doug Bean says, I've learned to cook chicken and fried steak pretty good. Oh, and white grape. Well, yeah, that's a Texas standard right there. Also this morning, Vicki Boland says, watching on my phone, miss my local TV sometimes. Well, we miss you too, no doubt. Christina Freeman, good morning. Peggy, thanks for getting up from League Road this morning and make us a part of your day. Elizabeth Freeman says, just miss going out to eat at any restaurant. I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. All right. So again, jump in, post your comment, just a shout out if you want to. Tell us where you're watching. We always like to hear from you, our friends here on our Facebook channel. All right, let's do what we do, which is check up on what's happening in the headlines for you. We'll start things off this morning, as always, at kfdm.com. Let me back out there for you so you can see the entire page. This is what it will look like when you go to the page and when you check it out for yourself. And you can see, not only do we have the latest headlines, we always keep you up to date with what's happening in the forecast, and we are still tracking some tropical weather. It is still far out in the kind of approaching the Caribbean, but all the models are looking pretty positive for us at this time. But as Dana and I discussed this morning on KFDM TV on the morning show, I said, my theory is never take your eye off of anything. I know the spaghetti models look real good and they're all having it kind of curving up the East Coast. But living here for a prolonged period of time should teach you, you don't know till it happens. In other words, until it makes the curve, I'm watching. Too many times I've been surprised by things that, the weekend comes and it's like, oh, we're confident it's headed this direction. And then you wake up on Monday and they're like, brace yourselves, get ready. I just don't want to be caught unaware. I'm one of those people, I'm a prep guy. I like to be prepared. I want to have all the ducks in a row if I possibly can. So we'll continue to watch that. My point being, you can also go here anytime, 24/7 at kfdm.com and find out what's happening. You'll see a tab that'll pop up right there, tracking the storms. You can go and actually see what's happening. We even have hurricane maps that are available that if you click on them, it will pull it up for you and you can chart it, track it yourself if you want to at kfdm.com. All right, let's take a look at some of the stories we're following this morning. New cases, you can see 52 new COVID cases in Port Arthur, and we also get into the fact that Port Neches Groves, actually the city of Port Neches, had its first COVID-19 related death. And it was a woman between 70 and 75 years old. And you can go and read all the different numbers happening in the city of Port Arthur. Now, Port Arthur also includes Port Neches, Nederland, and other surrounding areas there in Mid-County. They're counted in Port Arthur. You can also go into the website this morning and you can count the numbers for Beaumont. We have that there as well. And we also have the numbers for Orange. Let me step back for a second. And I can also show you the numbers that I compiled. And what I did was I just went into the different health departments. And I do 7 or 8 counties. Depends on how many I can get the information from. I try to bring them, make sure they're available for you every day. Here they are. Whoops, that's the wrong one. I believe that's the one. The latest numbers, we have 295 new positive results in that 7 to 8 county area. We have 4 new deaths. We have 107 people who are hospitalized. We have 4,500 active cases. Active. More than 7,000 positive, total number positive. But really, what's important? I think if you talk to epidemiologists, if you talk to infectious disease doctors, I'm just hitting all the wrong buttons today. They're gonna tell you that the real number to watch is hospitalizations, ICUs, and also growing number of cases. And that's important because that kind of dictates the other two. If you have a continuing growing number of cases, then there's a very good chance you're going to continue to see the number of ICU cases go up, hospitalizations go up. Don't forget, too, that you can always go and see the numbers by going to the Health and Human Services COVID-19 dashboard, that all you have to do is hit Google. Would you like me to show you how to do that? I can show you how to do that. I'm going to go to the Facebook page here real quick, just to remind you of that too, that you can see some of the same stories that we're following. You'll find there on the Facebook page. But let's just say that you don't know. Look, watch this. Texas COVID dashboard. And then just hit search. It'll pop up. There it is. Dashboard, Texas Gov. It will take a second here and it will pull it up for you. And when it does, you can check all the different numbers. There it is. See where it says COVID dashboard there under Texas Health and Human Services. It'll load for you. This is real time. I'm doing it right here for you just to show you how you can reach and get, because people ask, where did you get that story? Where did you find that information? Using the same tools that you have available to you. You just jump in and start digging. You can see we've had 5,877 deaths in the state of Texas. You can also go to the hospitalization. It is a different dashboard. If you'll just click right there where it says COVID-19 test and hospital data, it will load all that information for you. But notice this. It says the numbers are incomplete because we've had a change in the reporting of the way we're reporting not only numbers, deaths, tests, all of those things. Don't let that get in your way. Here's the one you want to look at. This is a number of hospitalizations. Now, be encouraged if you're looking for something, if you're one of those people that, I can't leave my house. Be encouraged by the fact that at least we've seen some dips, and maybe, just maybe, we've peaked and we're starting to come back the other direction. Wouldn't that be nice? But as some public health experts will say, the problem is the numbers are still way too high to be too terribly encouraged. Because if you look at that number, I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but it says 9,593. When you go back to the numbers, a month ago, I guess we'd have to come back around this area to be at around a month ago. It's up over 5,000. But if you go back to May, look at the difference, 1,700 as opposed to almost 10,000, 9,593. Now, also remind you too, you can go to regional hospitals. We are R. That is us. So it says we have 10 ICU beds available serving the area of Southeast Texas. A good place to go, of course, is texastribune.org. Thought this was a story I did want to share with you today. Coronavirus cases in Texas. Nursing homes more than doubled in July. When's the last time you heard anybody talking about this? Probably not very often. But Texas nursing homes are the ones that are being hardest hit. There's no doubt about that. Also here in Southeast Texas, this is not just something that's happening in Hidalgo. This is not just something that's happening in Dallas and Houston. This is also happening in rural parts of Texas. More than 3/4 of all the nursing homes in Texas have reported at least one positive test, at least one. 3/4, and that's up from half at the end of June. And those numbers just keep going up. 1/3 of all the deaths of that 5,713 have been nursing home residents. In fact, 40% of all the deaths national are at senior care centers. That's according to the New York Times. Go read this story again, as I mentioned, texastribune.org. They do a good job of keeping up with everything. All right, just a couple other things to hit on this morning. A lot of people will talk to me, and first thing that comes out of their mouth is fake news. All right, well, I thought this was very interesting. USA Today, it's an opinion piece. But Cindy Otis made her living. Let me just take you to the bottom of the page. And you can read her credentials down here at the bottom of the page. Cindy Otis, a disinformation expert and former CIA analyst. All right? And now she is writing a very interesting book, I think, about how you can find and how you can identify fake news. All right? This is worth your read. I suggest you go. My whole pitch to you, and has been from the beginning and will continue as long as I can, is I'm not here to spoon feed you. I'm not here to be your teacher. I'm here to be, someone who is a conduit for information. And then it's up to you to go and do the homework. You do the lifting. I just kind of put it in front of you, whether it's numbers or the latest headlines. And then you go, because that's the only way you're going to be, what's a good word? Informed, nourished with information. is if you do the actual. Don't let somebody regurgitate, just here you go, throw it to you, and you catch it, and that's it. Invest. Because that's the only way you're going to really, I would think, the only way you're going to feel confident is if you invest your time. Then it has value. All right, so there's a good story to read. And let me come back. I'm going to come back to a few more comments before we say goodbye this morning and check on some other folks who are in with us this morning. Here is Sarah Brandon saying good morning. Good morning to you. Dixie, good morning to you as well. She's getting up with us. Lou is up with us this morning. Mary Ellen responded, said, yes, I lived in Southeast Texas 26 years. Miss my family. There's this lady in Florida. We miss you too. Linda Phillips, also this morning. Lyndall Munson is up with us this morning, I see. And so is Linda Lively. Good morning to you. Karen is up with us this morning. And see what else. Oh, Robert Long is here from Seabrook. Hi, Robert. Good to have you with us this morning as well. And don't forget, I really do. I read your comments, your questions, your thoughts. Anything you want to send along, please do so. And well, if it's a question about something, I'll do my best to research it, come back, say something about it tomorrow if I can find the information. Because again, most of us don't have anything else. People always want to think that, if you're in journalism, if you're in news, you probably have all these special tools and all these. No, you know what you have? You have the knowledge of how to do a search. You have the knowledge of how to look for something. You have connections. Maybe I have contacts. Maybe I can call somebody who knows something or can point me in the right direction. That's the only advantage that people have who investigate or who are journalists. Is, to my knowledge, 40 years later, that's all I know. All right, I'm going to end with, we're trying to do something light every day. Wait, Jane, are you really watching in Vegas this morning? Oh, June. Jane may be too. But June, is it true what they say? What happens stays in Vegas? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the economy in Vegas. They are struggling. And it's not just because of the casinos. It's like every place else. They're going through shutdowns, startup shutdowns, dealing with issues there. But June, thank you for taking the time to find out what's happening here in Southeast Texas. And again, appreciate I hope you'll check in with us from time to time. All right, so always trying to end on something light, positive, to send you out on your way and into the day. If someone asks you, what's the best movie you ever read? Because you really can. When I say that, I'm not mixing my words up. I mean it. What's the best movie you ever read? Because if you're a person who is interested in reading, and I normally find that people who read are pretty educated, don't you? Yeah, because they've taken the time, like we were just talking about, they've invested, not for affirmation, but for information, hopefully. But if you read, and you read novels, and that's kind of where I go, because most of us spend so much time reading news stories, they're depressed. I want an escape, just like you turn to television for some escape. A great book, a good novel. There's nothing better. It's the movie in your head that somebody was smart enough to write for you, to be the director. But there are movies that do a horrible job of translating books. Wouldn't we all agree with that? And then there are other movies that have done a great job. So I found for you this morning a very interesting website. It's called The Movie Blog, the official home of correct movie opinions. I like their tagline. But here's their article, their opinion, of course. The top 100 movies based on books. Now, this is a little dated. This is like from 2008. But I think a good book and a good movie hold up. Now, I'm sure they probably added new ones since then. But I just found this one, and it happened to be one that I could run through pretty quickly. And like I said, to me, good books and good movies stand the test of time. And you see some of the different ones that are in there. Think to yourself, what are some of the best books that you ever read? And when you saw the movie, you thought, they got it right. Somebody got this one right. Now, here's the biggest problem I have and maybe you do too, if you read books, is that there's just no way that you can take 400 or 500 pages and do it justice in 2 hours, even in 3 hours. So now that we have episodic television where they can do 10 hours, now now all of a sudden great books are becoming great television series. Last Kingdom, if you haven't seen it on Netflix, one about Saxons, Vikings, that time period. Great series of books. My wife's in the middle of reading it right now. And she said, well, they didn't have this on the show. Well, of course, because even with 10 hours or 5 seasons, they still don't have time if it's a series. The Green Mile, great book. Also turned out to be a pretty good movie. So what's number one to their way of thinking? What's the best? I know, probably make you dizzy by doing this, but I'm trying to get to the, and I'm not going to agree with it. And I'll let you tell me what you think, because their number one pick, best movie ever from a book, Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. That wouldn't do it for me. That wouldn't do it. But their second choice, absolutely. If you have never read the book, The Godfather, and you're one of those people that quotes the movie, you ain't seen nothing till you read the book. It is, it's one that and Shawshank Redemption is the same thing. Yeah, the movie's good, but boy, is the book great. All right, so make your list. Good books that became good movies. And what would be your top? Go out and think about it. Princess Bride, Wuthering Heights. A lot of people would probably say, oh, yeah, that was one. Goodfellas. No Country for Old Men. They did a pretty good job on that one, too. All right. I'm going to leave you with that today. So, again, let me know what you think. If you got a movie you thought was better, the one that was a great book, and now you can't put the movie down or you watch it all the time, let us know. All right, let me also leave you with this. Again, the reminder, if you don't mind, just drop us a real quick thumbs up. We appreciate it. Again, you're right. Donald Hennigan said, Gone with the Wind. I think probably was one of those that a lot of people would say accurately brought the book into movie form as well. You can give us a like. We'd appreciate it. Also, reminder, too, that there are a variety of ways that you can catch up with me and or us. You can go to, of course, the page you're on, which is KFDM News on Facebook. You can also follow me, Morning TV Dan, on Twitter and YouTube. You can go to Dan's at Home. That's the channel we have there, and we post all of our morning updates there as well. Love to have you there on YouTube. And of course, don't forget, we have a lot of broadcasts coming up for you at noon today. Dana and Tan will be back on KFDM TV. They'll update your headlines and the forecast. Plus, you'll also be able to catch up with things at 5, 5:30, 6, 9, and 10. We do 4.5 hours after we do 4.5 hours every morning. So that's 9 hours of local news every day on KFDM and KBTV Fox 4. So a great way to stay up to date, along with, of course, KFDM.com and Fox4Beaumont.com. That is it for me today. I have enjoyed my time with you. I hope that you have enjoyed it as well. We'll look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. And bring your movies and book ideas if you want to, or just post them up now, and I'll read them, kind of catch up on them, because I'm always looking for a good book to read. So maybe I'll find one here. Maybe we'll get into just books and not movies tomorrow. All right, again, go out and make it a terrific day. Stay safe. Reach out to somebody that you think might be needing some help today. There are a lot of lonely people out there, my friends. A lot of folks that aren't getting out of their house that, for whatever reason, their risk tolerance is not very high. So you can be the one that can be the bridge that helps them keep their sanity to some point. All right, again, go out and enjoy it. Make it a terrific day. I'll look forward to seeing you back here bright and early tomorrow morning.